All right, so let's talk practice drills and stuff. Let's do that.
Okay. I mean, I have a PowerPoint that I can
Sure.
go.
Like, you want to do that? You want to jump that on, and we can just talk through that. That'd
Yeah.
work. So you see the share screen on the bottom,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then I got some. We'll talk. Awesome. That works.
Yeah, let me get here started up here. Yeah, just a couple things I want to say about practice and practice drills, what have you. I always tell coaches they got to have a method to their practice madness. I know that that's something that let me just do it like this. Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's something that, everybody does practice different. It's not no one correct way to do practice, but I think you got to have a method to it and make sure that you're covering the right things. Have a plan, be organized. I tried to make sure I do my practice plans ahead of time, meaning, days before.
And when do you do them? I've always asked coaches, because I've been talking to a lot of coaches in the last couple of weeks. When do you do your practice plans? Do you do?
Well, it just depends, because you got the balance of life too. So, but I try to do them at least 2 to 3 days out.
Okay.
And at the worst, the day before, the night before. But anyway, it gives me a chance to think it through.
Right.
Like, that's the part that I'm really getting at. You want to be able to have a chance to think it through. It might be certain things you want to see, certain matchups you want to see. I tell guys all the time, have your groups already set up, your 5-man groups, your 4-man groups, your 3-man groups. Have those groups already set up and get, what you want to get out of, like, certain guys you want to see go against each other.
Right.
And, again, just have your points of emphasis, because what you're gonna emphasize is what you tend to get.
Right.
So,
I do that too. It's like I try to mix up my groups a lot, and I always have them ready. I don't know how many assistants you have, but I always have the other assistants getting groups ready a drill ahead. Like, if I'm finishing up something for 6 minutes, then one of them usually is getting the next group ready. But I love that idea of, like, I always do that too, about having groups. Here's my groups of 4. Here's my group. We're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. So then you just calling out names. You're not saying you,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you. And it. I try to make it so this. Like I say, sometimes I might put my best player in a group with 3 other guys that might be the 11th, 12th, and 13th guy, just to see how he's going to respond to playing with that group. Can he will that group to win the drill competition, or the whatever competition we're having in practice? Or because he'll make those guys better if he can make those guys feel like they're competing and feel like they're better. And so, again, just the reasoning for that. And then I've always said, give coaches ownership, assistant coaching, some type of ownership in practice. And that means, like, if we're working on a defensive drills, 2 guys coach the offense. You coach them up on offense. Just things of that nature. I try to, I got this from Dick Bennett. Also, I was on a call with Jeff Van Gundy last week with USA Basketball, and he was saying the same thing. But what we try to do is do the things that occur most in the game with practice. Like, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes on sideline out of bounds, because we might do that maybe twice in a game.
Right.
So you got to make sure you're practicing the right things, and make sure you do, like you said, do the things that occur most in the game.
I think young coaches, especially right now, there's like 8 billion clinics going on. It's almost too much for me. I feel like my head's gonna explode.
Right.
But it's great. The people that are doing all this stuff, it's like, oh my God, you are keeping people sane. But
Right.
it's like, if your team doesn't shoot threes in transition, then don't practice shooting threes in transition.
Right.
If you do, you work on that. Like, if you don't work on hedge on a screen, then why are you working on that? I mean, there's just, I think that's, like, so important for young coaches, because they see a drill and they go, oh, that looks like a good drill, but does that drill correlate to what you're doing?
Man. And I remember being that young coach when I
do too.
first started coaching. I went to a University of Kentucky clinic, and Tubby Smith was speaking, and I swear I wrote down every drill, and I tried to go back in and incorporate every drill. And that's when I learned, you might go to a clinic and this might be one thing you can use.
I call them golden nuggets. You'll find one or
you
golden
get
nuggets.
that one thing, and you ride it, and that's what it is.
It is. I remember going to Minneapolis to watch Coach K right after he won his first national titles, like, I don't know, 90 something like that. And I remember literally coming home with a yellow pad full of stuff, and I'm going to do all this stuff that Coach K. It's like I was coaching like sophomore boys basketball. I'm not going to, like.
Yeah, when I did that, I was coaching middle school, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know.
But then I'll try to make sure you got a competitive setting. Make sure that everything, I try to do a lot of things. Majority of things we do in practice is a competition.
Okay.
It's winners and losers.
Yep.
And, with enough live segments built into that. We're not just going 2-on-0, 3-on-0. We're going live in most of the segments. We're going in practice. But I go back to the winners and losers thing because we did something while I was back at Miller Grove that worked really, really well for us. Normally, when you do a competition, losers run. Well, we flipped it and we said, all right, if you win the competition, winners have to run. And it kind of startled our guys at first because it's like, why do we got to run and we won? Well, I said, don't you want the opportunity to try to get better? And you get better by running that sprint or running that suicide for winning. And they took to it. And so, we do winners
Okay,
run
so
now.
so very very rarely do I hear stuff I haven't heard, Coach. I love that.
Yeah. So
And
winners
now
run.
okay, so I've been coaching for 30 years. So how long did it take for them to buy into that? Because I can just hear my gym right now. What are you
Yeah.
talking?
Once we explain what it was really about, meaning if you get a chance to run, you're going to get better because they're running. And don't you want to get better? And they bought it. And, like we start off the year and we start practicing. We start off with normal losers run.
Right.
And then about 3 weeks in, we'll start with winners run. And when you start seeing guys upset about losing because they don't get to run, that's when you know you got something special.
Right.
And so every team I've been a part of, we've done that. And it's
I
worked
love that.
great. Yeah. And
What
so
about
and then when you get to a certain point, you just mix it up. Sometimes losers run, sometimes winners run. It just mixes it up. But again,
what percentage of practice do you think is 5-on-5 or live?
Live. When I say live, that don't necessarily mean 5-on-5 for me. That could be a 2-on-2, a 3-on-3, but it's live meaning we're competing against.
Oh, you're competing. Okay, you're competing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you'll see. I'm gonna walk through kind of like some of our stuff we do.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to kind of see
Okay.
we do a lot of live stuff.
I do too.
And then last thing I would say, just get winning thoughts. At USA Basketball we call it mind candy. But make it relative to what's going on at the time. Don't just give a random quote that doesn't have anything that they can't relate to or that they can't understand at the time. Now, make it relative to what you're doing. And so that's what I would say. It's a couple of defensive drills. We do what we call a one-on-one vertical slide. I got a video here to show it. But what it is, everybody generally does the zigzag, and I do that to a certain extent too sometimes. But I try to add, some things that will make it more real, which where things are more relative to when you actually play a game. So this vertical slide is more or less we're on the sidelines, and the guys you'll see that they'll start dribbling, and then the guy come back, and then he's got to beat them back to that spot vertically, which is more of a real type of dribbling or defending type of deal. He's got to beat them back to the spot. They dribble, they retreat dribble, and then they got to, again, try to beat them back to the spot.
I love that drill. We do that drill. We do a variation of that drill where we're pretending like he gets beat. So we make them talk in this drill because high school kids never talk.
Right.
So we call help, help, help. Like I'm getting beat, so someone's going to come. And then as soon as they yell help, then the dribbler has to slow, retreat. And then I love that. That's a great drill. I love that drill.
So then we'll do a one-on-one pin drill, which is kind of a variation of zigzag. But what we do is we'll go zigzag to half court. And then when it gets to half court, it's live. They go live to the rest of the court. And so you can see one of our bigger guys is guarding one of our guards, and this is good. That's another thing that I think you do as well. You try to make different matchups. You don't try to go guards against guards. What we do is we tell the guys, okay, go pick someone that's going to make you better. Don't go pick your friends. Don't go pick someone that's not going to go pick. It could be the best player on the team. You got to go try to go at them and try to make sure you're getting better in the process. And so, or you might just say, I want bigs against guards today, where a big guy has to guard a guard or a guard has to guard a big. Mm-hmm. And, it works on both sides of the ball because, again, if it's a big dribbling, he's got to be protective of his dribble because that guard is going to be up in him and forcing him to take care of the ball. And on the other hand, that guard has to guard that big. He's got to make sure that he, try to get up in him or try to, make sure that he's not getting bullied in the manner, again, beat. So, again, I would just say do those types of things just to mix it up. Then we do what we call, one-on-one post, one-on-one perimeter. We'll have all the post guys in the post area.
Okay.
We'll have two guys up first, offensive guy, defensive guy, and then we'll have a perimeter guys out on the edge here, and then they'll have one defensive guy, one offensive guy. So what happens is we'll throw the ball inside to the post guy, and he has 4 seconds to try to score against his defender. And then once they finish that segment, with a score or missed shot, whatever the case is, when that segment ends, we throw a ball to the wing to where the guard is, and then they play one-on-one from the perimeter. So killing a couple of birds there. We're working on our post entry feeds, our posting up, our post defense, and then we're working on our perimeter defense and our perimeter offense. So here it is right here. And we got a coach on the baseline counting to 4. He'll just count down in 4 seconds. And again, you see those guys came in there to get out the way, but
I love that. Okay.
And then, again, the next group will go.
And how long will you do this drill?
We'll get everybody, we'll go through the gauntlet with everybody getting a rep, because the offense goes to defense on the perimeter, and the same thing in the post. Offense goes to defense and get a new defense goes to offense and we get a new defender on every time.
Okay.
Then we can go to the other side with that. And what we also do sometimes to make it competitive, we'll put the guards in the post, let them play in the post against each other. And we'll let the bigs play out on the perimeter and the edges and play against each other out there. And that makes it a little fun for them because, guards want to be bigs and bigs want to be guards.
Right.
Or what have you. So it gives them an opportunity to do that. But it is also, again, just working on different things. And you can see the guards are playing each other there. Again, they want to be big, but they're not big. And then bigs want to be guards, but they're not small. So it just gives us.
But when you get it, I mean, I obviously bet with Bennett and with Coach Bennett being here and Coach Ryan running the swing and all that kind of stuff, kids can post up in Wisconsin, man, because guards that figure out how to post up can score.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
So we would do that. Then we do what we call guard your yard. This is for the purpose of just, when a guy gets past that, when he comes below that 3-point line, that's when you really have to start tightening up on guys defensively, physically. And so we do this drill just to kind of work on that. And so what we tell the guard is you can go free throw lane line, or, free throw lane, both sides of the free throw lane. You can't go outside, but you're just going back and forth. And we were trying to teach the guy who's on defense to guard that. And the guy's not necessarily trying to score. He's just going back and forth, kind of like in a semi zig-zag.
Right.
I'll let you see it. But again, we're just trying to work on tightening up. When you get to that, when they start getting to that paint area, you got to tighten up. You can't give them much space because it'll probably create an opportunity on offense for the offensive team. For them
to score. I love that.
Yeah. And so then we go defense, goes to offense, get a new defender on. And again, just working on, tighten it up right there. Try not to use your hands as much, but as you need, just trying to move your feet more so, get your body between the man and the basket.
I love that. Okay.
We'll go one-on-one from the wing. We do this drill probably every day. And what I mean by one-on-one, we can do one-on-one from the top. We can do one-on-one from the opposite wing. But we do one-on-one, like I said, we do a lot of competitive stuff. And I think one-on-one is probably one of your better things to do because, again, 1-on-0 is great. And it's, when you talk about skill development and stuff, I still think there's a degree that guys still should be playing one-on-one because it just makes each person better.
You can't hide. You can't
hide. Defensive guy, offensive guy. But we also use these as scouts so that when we scout a game, let's say if a team likes to do middle drives, we'll use this drill to work on middle drives. And, because we don't – and guys driving from the wings or whatever, if a team likes to, do, side ball screens from the wing, whatever, just different things. And it gives us things to work on in reference to a scout. So we will do this. And again, we tell guys to pick someone that's going to make you better. Don't just go pick your buddy. Don't go. And if we see a discrepancy with that, we'll jump in and say, no, you go against this person because, we want you to get better. We want you guys to get better as it is. And again, you can do bigs against smalls, what have you. But again, we do not limit the dribbles because we can't predict this is a defensive drill, so we can't predict what the offense will do. And we want our defensive guy to stay solid. So we don't necessarily put a dribble limit on the offense because you can't put a dribble limit on somebody in a game. And
Right.
so you just want to be able to stay solid defensively. So, and then at times we will put a dribble limit on it if we try to be more offensive minded. But here we're just working on defense, and we're just trying to make sure that we can guard guys, trying to protect middle, try not to let guys go middle, force some baseline. And then, again, just play good, solid defense throughout the possession, no matter how many times the guy dribbles. The more he dribbles, we always tell him, the more the defense starts to get momentum. And so we'll do that. And like I said, you can do that.
Do they call hand checks in your state? Because they don't in ours half the time.
And I mean, it's so hard to call. As long as you don't rest your hand. We always tell our guys, touch, take it off, touch, take it off, but we don't, they generally don't. Hard time calling it. This other one we do is called 2-on-2. And you can see I'm kind of building up from 1-on-1 to 2-on-2. That's the way we kind of do it. And we do 2-on-2 defending the screen. Now let's say we got 4 different calls for screens or whatever number of calls we got. We color code our screen calls. But what we do with this drill is we got 2-on-2. We got 2 offensive guys versus 2 defensive guys. And they'll pass it back and screen for each other back and forth 4 times, depending on the number of screens we're going to try. But it teaches us how to guard, it gives us reps in calling out, communicating our screens, and execute how we want to guard them. So let's say we got a black ball screen coverage, we got a red ball screen coverage, a white ball screen coverage, and a green ball screen coverage. And what they'll do is call out and perform each one of those throughout the duration. And then after they do the 4, it's live.
And what are the 4? What are the 4? What would the 4? What would be your 4 example of your 4? Like hedge.
Yeah. Okay, so it'd be one of them is a head. You'll see a guy go over the top, and the other guy will play below.
Okay. Yep.
You'll see a switch.
Okay.
You'll see a trapping of the ball screen, and you'll see a guy going up under.
Okay.
All right. So that's what we call that a green. We'll go up underneath.
Yep.
That's going over the top. So we'll call that one a blue. That's a trap. We call that one a red. And then we'll call that one a white. That's a switch. And then now they're playing live. So
I love that.
then we'll go defense to offense. I'll let you look at another one of those. We got another one of those. I know we don't.
And how did you come up with the color call? I love that idea of color call because that's basic.
Man, it's easy for the kids. And green is like a green light goes, so that means let the guy go up underneath.
Okay.
Red, again, that's trapping. So we just, I think it's just kind of
stop them. Yeah.
Came up with that just based on, and it's easy for the kids to remember. And so when you're talking in scout, when you're on film session, you're in the middle of a scout, you might say, we're going to green this ball screen. Everybody knows what green is.
Okay.
We're going to white, and we might ask them, what do you think we should do on these ball screens? I say, let's white them. Toward the end of the year, we were whiting more, which is switching, and it just gave us a lot of more flexibility.
We talk touch take when we switch. It's like boom. Kids, high school kids, especially average high school kids, when you come at them, they don't handle it well either. When you double it, they don't handle it well.
Right, yeah. So
the good ones do. But
just depends on the scout and team.
Yeah.
Next one is 4-out closeout. It's another 2-on-2. You can see we got 4 guys on the perimeter. We got these first 2 guys, which will be they'll be the defensive guys, and then these 2 guys over here in the far end will be the offensive guys. But we'll swing the ball around, and as we swing it around to each person, these 2 guys will go guard. This first guy will guard the first guy on offense, and then the second guy, if he passes, he'll go guard the second guy. And then we can utilize our ball screen. We got to talk how we're going to guard, the ball screen, or how we're going to, get through these different screens that they might set. So just taking a look at that, swing it around. You see we talking. And all those drills we do to build up this, you see we white it there. Good communication. There we go. We talk, see him pointing, go white. Good communication. Another white, you hear him call white, white, white. And again, not a bad defensive possession. They end up scoring, but not a bad defensive possession. But again, and then we will rotate the two guys that were on. Well, first of all, if you get scored on, you have to go again.
Okay.
Same groups. If you get a stop, then you rotate the two guys that were on defense to the other side. Now they're on offense, and then you rotate two new guys in on the defensive side.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we'll do 2-on-2 closeout stunt and go live with that. And this is just a simple drill, but what we try to do here is just work on our gapping. And, then again, we'll go live. So we're just working on our gapping. They'll pass it 3 to 4 times, and then we'll say go live. And then again, just working on, help. We spend a lot of time on defense in practice, but like I say, even when we're working on defense, we got coaches that are coaching offense.
Right.
Trying to direct guys on offense so that we can get a little bit of that going as well. It's a good possession. And then the defense will go to offense.
Okay. And so we're up to 2 on. What amount of time have you spent on what you've done to this point? Probably half hour.
Probably roughly a half hour. But see, like I'm giving you a lot of drills we do. We might not do each one of these 2-on-2 drills every single day.
You pick what you need for the
mix
scout.
It up, and that's the planning part. You know what you want to see. You know what you need to work on from the day before. You watch the film from practice the day before, so you kind of know what you need to work on. Yeah. You kind of figure out how do I plan my practice accordingly. And so that's what I mean by you got to plan ahead. You got to watch film. You got to see what it is. What's your plan of focus? What you want to emphasize. And so we're in this is the early practice in the season. So we're trying to make sure our defense is rock solid tight. And so we're working on all these different things. But, yeah. So this is not from one particular practice.
It's I see what you're saying. Yeah.
This could be from then we do what we call 3-on-3 UCLA cut ball screens. And with this, what we've done is we're just trying to guard different actions that you could see, a UCLA cut, a ball screen, combine them into take a part of someone's offense that someone might want to run against you and break it down to a 3-man situation where, you got to guard that particular actions or parts of their offense. And so you can use it in a scout form, and you can just come up with a generic offense that's going to include multiple actions that you got to guard against. So this one, again, we call it 3-on-3 ball screen, UCLA cut with a ball screen. And it's just, we want to guard this. And so we got to talk, we got to figure out and see. If you look at that one, that guy, again, he was overplaying the screen, worried about the screen, and got beat baseline. But we want the coaches to be able to coach them in that and tell them, how to go about attacking the guy who's about the ball screen.
Right. You got to give them every opportunity to see the stuff. Yeah.
And so just another one. Working on help, all those things. And so that, again, we do that. We'll switch it up, but we'll in this drill, we'll let the offensive group get 2 to 3 possessions so they can get some type of rhythm going. And then we'll switch it out and put the offensive group off and put a new defensive group, the defensive group on offense, and put a new defensive group in. And then that group will get 2 to 3 possessions, So it's not like one at a time. It's, you're going to get 2 to 3 possessions. We'll switch sides of the court. You saw we did one on the right side, and then we came back and did one on the left side. So we're trying to do all these different things to kind of create that realness that you could see. This is a good one right here. We do this with USA Basketball. This is just a closeout drill, but it works on different things. You can do it with 5 men, but we do it with 4. You see, we got 4 coaches on the outside there. And when you see it, what we do is we'll at the start of the drill, this guy, we'll put the ball in the corner for the first rep of it. We'll put the ball in the corner. And so this guy close out, he'll work on closing out and forcing baseline. And then he'll go back and tap his teammate, and then he'll go to the next spot where he'll be gapping. And that guy who he tapped, they'll come out and close out on the ball. Then they'll go back and tap and bring out another teammate, want to be in, we call it the help line, but we call it X. And then the other guy gap, and then the new guy come out and close out on the ball. And then they'll go back and tap, and they'll bring out one more teammate, one guy be in the low spot, sinking, and then the other guy be in the X spot, one guy be gapping, and the new guy be on the
I
ball. And
love
we'll
that.
rotate all the way through. Everybody goes. You'll
Yeah,
see
we've
that.
done that too. I think you're right, coach, that 5 gets too crowded. I think
Yeah,
4,
yeah,
that's why it's 5, 4 is much better.
yeah. And so, again, just attention to detail, making sure that we're gapping, talking, and they got to call out what they're in. Ball, 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 gap, 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 X, X, X,
Love
low,
that
low,
drill.
low. And again, the low guy ends up rotating out every time once you get to the number 4 guys. And again, it's just a great drill. And it's
Well,
been
I
really
think I
good.
think what makes a great drill too, it's teaching a lot of things, but
Yeah,
you could do once they learn this drill, you can do this drill fast. Like you don't
yeah,
have to spend
yeah,
much
yeah,
time
we
in
do. Yeah.
practice.
And then we'll put the ball on the wing as well, and we'll do the same thing on the wing. And it's just, again,
Okay.
different look. So we'll, but guy starting off, he'll go gapping first, and then he'll go ball. And so these are just different, again, good thing. This is a good one that we do. It helps with our, getting deflections and getting, anticipating passes. But we put coaches on the box of the nail, four coaches, and it's 3 guys on the inside, and the coaches have a ball on the outside, and we're just swinging the ball around. No order, no, just trying to move, and don't let them, deflect it, steal it. But the guys on defense, they have to get a deflection or steal in order to get out. The 3
Okay.
guys that are in, and so this is good for just anticipating, just jumping the passing lanes, reading your defenders, our offensive guy eyes, and knowing where they want to go with the ball, just things of that nature. So, and you can see we just we just
Yeah, we do a drill like this. We do a diamond type of drill like this where it's set up more like a diamond, but I love this because it makes them move.
yeah. We even do this drill in our pregame warm up to get our guys going. We do it in our pregame warm up before a game. So, people seeing what they're doing, they're not shooting layups. No,
Right.
we get ready to defend your
Oh,
ass.
don't get ready. Don't get me started on pregame warm up. I've revamped mine like 6 times over the last 5 years because I hate layups. I mean, how often you shoot an uncontested layup in a game?
Right.
Like
Practice the things that
you,
that occur the most.
right. And then we do that. We run our offense. We'll run every one of our quick hitters in front of the visiting bench. I don't care if you see it. If you can prepare your kids in the 3 minutes that you're going to see it, good. Good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you this one, and we can kind of like figure out how you want to do it from there. But this is when we, instead of doing 4-man shell on 4-0, what we do is we put an offensive group on the floor, and we give them a motion offense to run, where it's pretty simple, but it works on our defensive movements. We can cover so many things defensively. So we have 4 guys on the wing and 4 guys, guarding those guys. And so when the ball is swung to the strong side, the guy that swings it, he cuts through. And so that gives the defensive guy a chance to get between the ball and the man as he cuts through the lane. And then those guys on the opposite side they fill up, and the guy who cut through goes to the corner. And then if they swing it across, the 2 guys on the opposite side, or weak side, they exchange, which will give us a good chance to guard that kind of action if we want to switch it, if we want to guard it. We usually don't switch it this early in practice. We try to make sure we figure out how to guard it. And it just continuous. And we do it for like 45 seconds. So I'll let you take a look at this. But again, he swings, goes through. They exchange on that backside, swings go through. But it gives us a chance to really kind of make sure we understand,
Right.
talking,
It's the
pointing.
key. It's the key movements a lot of people use on their
Exactly.
offenses. Yeah.
And so we'll do it for each group has to go from about 30 to 45 seconds, just, going through it. And then as we progress in practices, we'll make it live after that 30 seconds. So where that offensive group has a chance to score, and we got to be ready to defend it. And so again, it's great for our guys to get used to getting those X and low spots that we talk about
Spots.
and help and those things.
Okay.
Now I
So
got a ton more, but I want to make sure we.
that's a lot of defensive stuff. Is there other stuff that you do that you think would be helpful for coaches to hear about?
Yeah, we got. Let me see.
So right, so you've built your progression from 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, till you're working on your defensive stuff. Rebounding. Oh, you got anything on rebounding? Holy crap!
Yeah,
People
we
always
do
ask about
something
rebounding.
we call circle the wagons. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do it, but we
Yeah.
do it we do it two different ways. We do it what we call our standard way, and then we
Okay.
do it when we do it in the transition. So the standard way, you got the guy circling up under the basket, and what we do to kind of help with communication and making sure guys know who to box out, they have to point at the guy they're running by when they're running around that circle. They got to point and call his name out. And so when we yell shot as a coach to the guys on the perimeter and they shoot it, they'll have an idea who they're supposed to box out and go box out that guy. But
Okay.
when we do standard, you have to get 2 consecutive rebounds without it being an offensive rebound.
Okay.
Now, if they don't get 2 consecutive, let's say they get a rebound and the team gets an offensive rebound, you got to start back over. So you got to stay in until you get 2. Now, early in the year, we do 3 consecutive rebounds. But as we go through the year, we kind of bring it down to 2 because it's a very physical situation there. You're trying to not get guys beat up too much.
Right.
You got to build that toughness too. And so if the offensive team gets an offensive rebound, we play it live. No matter, if we're standard or we're going to train, we're playing it live. So they get a chance to play offense because they got the ball. So
Right.
it gives them a chance to set something up and play from there. And so I'll let you see that.
I love the calling name thing out. I haven't heard that. I love that.
Yeah, you can see they're pointing and calling, pointing, calling, pointing, calling. They call shot. And you see we gave up the offensive rebound, so they're playing live now because they got a chance to do it. And anytime we give up an offensive rebound, we got the team has to do push-up. The defensive team has to do push-ups.
I love that.
So,
we do that too. If you miss a layup or something in practice or an uncontested,
yep,
we do the same. You
we
get
do
off
that
the
too.
damn
Yep,
court.
yep,
Go do your
we do
layup.
that.
Go do your push-ups. Yep.
So you saw that group they were just finishing up their push-ups and then they got they go again. And so you see this time they yell shot, they box out, they do a great job of boxing out and they get the rebound. So then we go from there and we progress to what we do circle the wagons to transition. So same deal, but now when you get the rebound, defensive rebound, we're going a trip down and a trip back. And if it's an offensive rebound, it's the same deal. They get the chance to score it, and you got to do push-ups, and we'll start it over again.
Okay.
But this is
Is there anything specific you tell them to go? You tell them to go find the body and touch, and
hit and get. It's not about necessarily wrapping a guy up. You just stop his progress.
Yeah.
Don't let him go any further. You see there when in transition, get a nice little drag there. And then we get into our little ball screen continuity here. I think our guard, he rejected the screen. So now I got a mismatch, and we'll let the big go eat, and they'll just play, like I say, one trip down and then come back.
Well, how do you do a fouling in practice?
Fouling?
Do you call it? Do you let them play?
No, we don't call many fouls in practice. We
Either
don't call
do we.
many fouls in practice unless it's just blatant or something. We don't call many fouls. We like the guys to play through contact. It's not much out of bounds in practice either, unless it's a situation where we go. But I mean, it's one of those things again where we just we're trying to build a level of competitive.
I do too. I don't call much. I just let them. I mean, the physical part of the game they got to fight through.
Right. And then if a referee might not make a call, so what are you going to do? You're going to sulk about it, or you got they might miss a call and they might have fouled you, but you got to learn how to play through it. So this is again same drill, and then we got transition stuff.
How do you do shooting and those kind of things?
Oh, I took the shooting off of here.
That's okay. But I mean, we could just talk about it. But do you do a lot in transition?
Yeah, we do some shooting. Most of our drills are transition shooting drills, except for ones that we're just doing spot shooting or but we do a lot of, I tell you what we do, and I offer this to coaches. Like when we start practice, we don't start stretching first. We do something to get, I'll sit around a lot of athletic trainers and they say it's always good to get them moving first, to get those muscles firing. And then you stretch the muscles when they get warm because it's a little bit better for them. And so we do a lot of shooting drills at the beginning. We do a different shooting drill every day to begin practice. And it's something transit, full court. And so we got, different drills, but we'll shoot shots and we have goals to make.
Okay.
When we shooting, we don't ever just shoot to be
And
shooting. We
are most
go,
of your drills in this transition kind of moving and shooting and are you working on, obviously it's like we talked about, you want to work on more than one thing at a time. Um, are you working on your transition defense and your transition offense?
not when we're doing shooting drills.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more or less when we do something. I think I got something like that on here. Um, when we do line transition, it gives us
Okay.
a chance to work on our transition D.
Okay.
As well as our transition offense. We'll have 5 guys on the baseline, 5 guys at the free throw line area. And the guys on the free throw line area are the defenders. They'll be in transition defense, and the guys on the baseline will be offense. And we'll just number the guys at the top of the key or in a free throw line, and we'll call out a number. We might call out one number, so it'll be a 5-on-4 situation. And as we progress, we'll call out 2 numbers. And we've even done it where we call out 3 numbers. So that means 3 guys got to go touch the baseline and then get back.
Okay.
And so we do that. And it works on our transition defense, but also teaches us how to attack in transition, making sure that we're trying to score the basketball. You can see here, we get a little drag screen action, creating that confusion. So we're able to roll and get it to our big guy. And then, we'll come back with it as well. So we never do one trip without coming back a trip. So you always want to.
I have noticed over the last 20 years that transition offense is fine. And I think a lot of that's just kind of the way they play in the summer and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The transition defense is a little bit more suspect.
Big difference, right?
It is.
Yeah. So, this was another one. I thought this was a pretty good one. We called out one number. We stretched the floor. Everybody got to their spots, but that 5-on-0 quick strike kind of puts us in our place when we do our transition. And so now we're just trying to execute what we just worked on. You see, we get a transition 3 there because the defense was scrambling to get back and trying to find out who they got. So, yeah, we do that as well. This one is we call it from the. Oops. We call this one from the circle.
Okay.
We put both groups in the circle, alternating colors, and they're just circling around, and we'll call out a color, and that team, whoever color we call out white will take it out of bounds or take it from the inbounds, and they'll advance the ball or what have you. But the team that's on blue, they will be in a defense that we pre-called for them.
Okay.
So we're working on our defensive full court defense. Whether it could be just pick up a man, or it could be we're pressing, or it could be our zone press. It could be our fall back into our zone. But we could just call our defense, and we do it for both teams because on the trip back, we expect the other team to be executing their same thing or executing what we call. And I call out different defenses for different teams. I never let them play the same defense against each other.
Do you call out defenses on the fly in a game, or do you always have it preset?
Oh, we can call it out on the fly. That's what all these reps are for, so they can get used to hearing if you call something different at the last second.
Okay.
If it's a dead ball situation like a free throw, yeah, we'll call it out and we'll let them know. And they're always looking to see what are we in, because we kind of try to keep teams off balance with what we're playing. But you can see, we'll call the number out. He called out. I called the color. I called out blue. We're in our 1-3-1. Or sorry, yeah, our 1-2. This is our 1-2-2 half court press.
Okay.
So we were able to get a steal there. Get a quick drag screen there. Move the ball. Moving bodies. Nice chase screen here. 3 from behind the arc. So again, just good, good reps. And so then we'll circle them up again. We'll call out a different color to take the ball out. Different group. We might call a different defense. It just depends on what we need to work on. We have a set defenses that we're working on that particular day.
Okay.
And the last thing I would show you, if I was going to show you, is like most guys, scrimmage. We scrimmage. We do stuff called 3 stops and all that stuff. But
yeah, stop, score, stop. We do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we do that. But this right here was something that we did this summer with USA basketball, and it really was really, really good. We call it 5-on-0, 5-on-5. So what happens is you'll have a group. They'll go 5-on-0 on the opposite end. They'll execute a set, or they might do your transition break, like quick strike for us. Yeah, they'll do that, and then they'll come back down and they'll be playing offense against a defense that's there now. So you're going 5-on-0, execute whatever you want them to execute down on that opposite end, and they come back, they take it out, and they come back down, they're playing defense or playing offense against a defense now. And so now they want to execute what it is, do whatever you call. And you don't have to let them execute what they just ran down there. You could, or you may
Right.
not. But I think it gives them a chance to go down there, execute it. And like this was an early practice, so we were trying to work on our transition stuff. So we worked on our quick strike. You can see we're trying to score it quick. All right. And then we'll come back and they'll play defense against play offense against a defense now. And then this was a zone. We had the team play a zone. And so now we had just worked on zone offense. So it gave us a chance to execute our zone offense. And now if this team scores, let's say the blue team would score, normally the blue team would get to go back down, run 5-on-0, and get to come back on offense again.
Right.
And the whites got to play defense again until they get a stop.
I love that because he wanted them to. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but in this case, because it was early in the year, we just we alternated it just so the groups can get enough reps with each other. But as we build that thing, it's a competitive deal. But again, 5-on-0, they go down and execute, and then they got to come down. This time, this group was in a 3-2 zone. The last group was in a 2-3 zone. So now they got to try to score and execute with the zone offense we had been working on earlier in practice.
I love that.
And so now that group will go and take it down 5-on-0. But it's just a different way of doing it, and it gives it a little bit more of a real feel because now they're bringing it from from down on the other end of the court down to the front court. So, yeah, but that's all I got.
Okay, that's perfect. Let's. I have some questions that I've written down.
Let me take this share off.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So do you tape practice?
Yeah, we take practice as much as we can. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do with the tape? That's what I ask coaches.
We do edits. Like I'll assign an edit to a coach a day. Like I said, you got practice edit for tomorrow. So they'll take the film. If we practice today, they'll take the film today, and they'll make edits on different things we did well, we might didn't do well. And we'll show it right before practice the following day.
Okay.
And so, it might be a day where I say, hey, I need you to hammer them, meaning show all the stuff that was bad, and then it might be a day I say, like, hey, let's take it easy. Let's show some good stuff today, or just try to find a balance. But it's just about, trying to make sure that we prepare them for what we need to be better at the next day at practice or, that day at practice when we actually show the film.
Okay. And do you always have I saw that there was a clock running. Do you always run a clock on drill?
I got in my practice plan, they have minute increments by everything, and my managers, they know the practice plan, so they'll put the clock on for whatever it is. A lot of times I go over the time, and if I need to stay on time, I'll tell them, hey, tap that horn if I go over, I'll make adjustments. But
and I tell coaches, especially the ones that are maybe a middle school coach or somewhere else, get your phone and get it set up, because what it does is it keeps you on track too. We're teachers and we're trying to teach, but it's like I can't spend that. I got to move on, and we can do it tomorrow.
Right.
So explain how your when you set up your practice plan, how do you set it up? Do you do like times, like I'm starting, and explain when you practice at pace and how long you go? Can you explain those things for people who are listening?
Yeah. The way we do it, we start practice with conditioning, shooting, stretching.
Okay.
So the shooting is a drill we normally doing something going up and down the floor, getting shots in, trying to beat a goal. And then once we get them warm, we'll stretch. After we stretch, we go into our defensive stuff. Or we stretch, and I'll bring them together and I'll give them a winning thought for the day. And then we'll start practice, and then we'll go into our defensive stuff. And we'll transition from defensive stuff, let's say 30, 40 minutes of defensive stuff, into shooting. So, because I use shooting breaks as like a water break. So, meaning like that's like the intermission before the next day, before we transition into something else. But we get a lot of shots in. And so we'll transition from there into offense, where we'll do some maybe some transition stuff, or maybe work on parts of the offense, or put in some of our sets. And then we'll go from that point, we'll transition out of that, to where we would do some rebounding, transition stuff. And then we'll transition from that to shooting. We might get a free throw. We'll do some free throw stuff in between. Then we'll do a water break. And then we'll finish it with some 5-on-0, 5-on-5, or either we'll do like 3 stops, or, stop, score, stop, score, stop, score.
Right.
Just what we want to focus on. It's all built around what we want to be the focus of a
And
practice.
and so this is it's a private school, but they go home at night,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
yeah.
So when do you normally practice? Like, what's your are you always right after school? Are
No,
you
no, we practice in the morning. I kind of like the mornings better because I think their brains are fresh.
okay?
They haven't had the duration of a school day where so many things that can happen in a school day. They might have a tough time with their girlfriend that day or anything. And so I like the morning practices, but by the same token, um, I would say that um, the afternoon practices are great too. And so we early in the year we do a little bit more morning um, because of volleyball, and then in
Okay.
the after when volleyball ends, which is usually a week after we've started, we tend to go back more evening or afternoon. I'm sorry, afternoon or after
Okay.
school.
Okay. And how long is your practices tend to be?
Early in the year, they're 2 hours. When we get to like January, they tend to go down to about an hour and a half. And as we go further, maybe an hour 15 minutes. Because I always tell guys, I'm coaching your bodies
Yeah.
from the beginning of the year to December, and then I'm coaching your minds more so from January to March. So,
Yeah, that's so true. So if you could only do three things at practice, what would you do?
meaning three particular
Yeah,
drills or
three
three.
thing. No, maybe drills or three. If you could
Oh,
only
okay.
do concepts,
I
if
would
you
do shooting,
okay,
defense, and I'm caught between player development, skill development, and or scrimmaging.
okay,
Yeah, probably
that might
somewhere.
change depending on the time of the year. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.